Kentucky Fried Chicken is an absolute global titan. It's a brand that has figured out how to fit into cultures all over the world. So how on earth did it manage to fail, not just once, but 3 separate times in Israel? That is the business mystery we're unpacking today.
Okay, so to really get why it failed, you first have to grasp just how massive its success is everywhere else. Because for millions of people, especially in places like Malaysia, KFC isn't just another fast food joint. It's actually woven into the fabric of life. It's a true cultural touchstone.
And I'm not kidding here. We're talking about the place you go to celebrate your kids' good grades, the food you order for a class party, or even the centerpiece of a birthday. The brand is literally built on family, celebration, and those little moments of achievement. Which brings us right back to our big question. If KFC is this beloved, this deeply ingrained in cultures all over the world, how could it fail so spectacularly in one specific market? And to do it again and again, this is the heart of the whole puzzle.
I mean, just look at this timeline. It's brutal. They gave it a shot in the 80s and had to close. They came back in the 90s and closed again. Their third major attempt actually lasted 2 decades before they finally shut it all down in 2012. This wasn't just a single misstep. It was a fundamental, recurring problem.
So what gives? What was the issue? Was it bad marketing? The price point? Too much competition? Nope. The entire story, all 3 failures, it all boils down to one single powerful concept.
And that word is kosher. Now, in a nutshell, kosher is the set of Jewish dietary laws that govern what foods you can eat and exactly how they have to be prepared. For a huge part of the population in Israel, it's a fundamental part of daily life and culture.
A really great way to wrap your head around this is to compare it to halal in Islam. As you can see, both are religious dietary codes. Both say no to pork, and both have very specific ways of slaughtering animals. But look at that last row. This is the big one. Kosher law strictly, and I mean strictly, forbids mixing meat and dairy. And that single rule is the key to this entire story.
And here it is. This is exactly how that rule created a complete nightmare for KFC. The chicken, well, that's obviously a meat product. But the Colonel's famous secret recipe coating? It contains milk powder, a dairy product. So the result is that the very essence of KFC's signature item is, by definition, not kosher.
Now, you might think they just ignored this, but no. In fact, they poured an unbelievable amount of resources into trying to solve it. They spent a full 20 years in R&D trying to create a version of their chicken that would actually comply with kosher laws.
On the surface, the solution seems so obvious, doesn't it? If the milk powder is the problem, you just take it out. So they tried to engineer a new compliant recipe. But as we're about to see, it wasn't nearly that simple.
And yep, that's exactly what they did. They went and engineered a new coating, swapping out that troublesome milk-based flour for a soy-based one instead. Problem solved, right? The chicken was now officially kosher.
Well, not so fast. This quote just sums up the result of their 20-year effort perfectly. They had successfully created a kosher chicken, but in doing that, they had lost the one thing that really mattered. They had lost KFC.
So let's break down why it wasn't KFC. First off, not only did the soy-based recipe just taste, well, wrong, it also failed on a basic technical level. The coating didn't stick to the chicken skin. The best part, that signature crispy crust, would literally just fall off. I mean, can you imagine that? They fixed the religious problem, but they had completely broken the product itself. Okay, but wait a second. A logical question is probably popping in your head right now. What about other big American fast food chains? I mean, McDonald's is hugely successful in Israel. How did they manage to get around the same kosher rules that absolutely crippled KFC?
This table lays it all out, plain and simple. For KFC, the meat and dairy conflict was baked into the fundamental recipe of its one core product. For McDonald's, the problem was just the cheeseburger. Their solution was brilliantly simple. Just offer burgers without cheese. It was a tiny menu adjustment, not a complete overhaul of their brand. KFC had to change its very soul. McDonald's just had to remove a single top.
And that's really the ultimate takeaway here. The very thing that made KFC a global phenomenon, its unique, secret, unchangeable original recipe, was the precise reason it was always destined to fail in this specific cultural context. Its greatest asset became its Achilles heel.
So it all leaves us with this much bigger question, one that applies to any business really, or even any of us. When you're entering a new world, is it better to change your core identity to fit in, even if it means losing what makes you special? Or is it better to stay true to who you are, knowing that some doors might just stay closed forever? For KFC in Israel, there was simply no right answer. Thanks for watching.